Well, we saw earlier the importance of having both EBS volumes and snapshots encrypted. Now, let's look at the impact of all this. From my snapshots panel, we can filter here by snapshots that I own, private snapshots, that would be these, and public snapshots. Notice that all these snapshots can be used freely because they are configured publicly, so that and other things. It is important to have encryption enabled and, if possible, to have your private snapshots at least, if you want to share them with other AWS accounts. But one thing to keep in mind is that whatever I choose here, it is not encrypted. Notice how it changes ownership. And none of it is encrypted, and if you remember the example I gave you in a past class about not having encryption active, then you will already know what will happen and the security risks involved. Now, going back to the snapshots I own, if I select the snapshot that is not encrypted and go down here in snapshot settings, notice that it has the permissions set to private and I can add the AWS account ID with which I want to share that snapshot. It would still remain private, and both me and that AWS account will have access to this snapshot. But one thing you should note is that this snapshot is not encrypted, which means that the other AWS account will have access to the confidential information when creating an EBS volume from this snapshot. Now, if we go back to the snapshots, I select the one that is encrypted and go to snapshot settings. Notice that it says, you can only share snapshots encrypted with a customer-managed key. I simply cannot modify the permissions, let alone share this snapshot because it was created from an EBS volume which was encrypted with a KMS key managed by AWS. But what if I create an EBS volume encrypted with a customer-managed KMS key? Let's see what happens. I'll go to Volumes, Create Volume. It'll be GP3. It'll be 5 gigabytes. I'll put it in the same AZ as my EC2 instances in case I want to attach it later. And under encryption, I'll choose a KMS key that I already have created from the AWS KMS service. Click Create Volume. Update. Select it, Actions, Create Snapshot. I'll put something here like Snapshot KMs, and then Create. Then, I go to Snapshots, Update, and here is. And if we look down here at the snapshot configuration, we can modify the permissions, add that AWS account, and share it. But it doesn't end there because in order for that other AWS account to be able to use that snapshot, you will need to grant permissions to that AWS account to use the KMS key that you used to encrypt both the EBS volume and the snapshot. Without these permissions, the other account will not be able to use the snapshot to create an EBS volume. So, for that, you would have to go to KMS. You go into your managed key policy, edit, and here, you edit this policy to include that other AWS account to have access to that KMS key. And once that's done, that other account will be able to use that snapshot to create an EBS volume with the KMS key used.